Yo, what's up guys? We are back for Rent a Girlfriend chapter 402. It's been a minute since I've covered anything, but yeah, let's just hop straight into it. Basically, in the last few chapters, Kazuya's been trying to improve himself in multiple different ways, right? He's been trying to get his license, get jobs put together, and yeah, that's kind of what he's doing, all for Chizuru. During this time is kind of where we're getting all of the other characters back into the story, such as Mommy and Ruka. This chapter and the last chapter were focused on Ruka. The two previous chapters were focused on Mommy. Ruka's whole thing kind of from last chapter was, oh, she wants to try some things that she hasn't tried before with Kazuya. It makes sense from Ruka's perspective, right? They're dating each other for a decently long period of time from what it looks like in the story, right? They initially got to know each other when Kazuya was in his, because I don't believe it was his first year in college, was it? It was his second year, and now he's in his third year. So yeah, about a year they've known each other. They started dating probably halfway through the year or something like that. And Ruka's been committed. She's been going through the ups and downs of the relationship. From her end, she's a little jealous of Chizuru, but she's been putting up with it. And I think we don't know how she thinks because we don't really get too much of her in the story. I mean, this is like the first time we've really gotten any significant Ruka anything in the last probably 150 chapters. Best girl in the series by far, but Kazuya doesn't think so. That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, and it's okay for Kazuya to be wrong, but calling Chizuru Mizuhara is just not the way to go about things. But yeah, so going into this chapter, Ruka wanted to hang out and give Kazuya a birthday present for his belated birthday. And this chapter starts with her inside of Kazuya's new apartment. And a big thing to point out is that Ruka hasn't been visiting Kazuya at his place for the longest period of time. Wait, maybe it was even longer, dude. I don't even know the time. Dude, the rag timeline is kind of messed up. But it's okay, there's a lot of time skips. But she hasn't been able to visit him because Kazuya always just rejects her. For what reason? Because he is living with Chizuru, or he was living with Chizuru for the longest time. And yeah, he just did not want to open that can of worms on why he's living with her. The whole time, Kazuya could have been living with Ruka or his parents. But yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I don't really like Kazuya's character a little bit. I don't understand why he's still in this relationship with Ruka. I know Ruka really wants it, and that was kind of the last that we got of her, was that, hey, I know that you like her, like I know you like Chizuru, but you're dating me, and I wanted to feel that way. And that's kind of what I got from the last part of Ruka. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm just maybe I completely misread that whole situation, but that's how I thought about it. And to me, it seemed like Ruka was just getting the short end of the stick, but kind of just putting up with it. And yeah, that's still the vibe that I'm getting right now. But I don't see any like hostility in Ruka during this chapter, but who knows, maybe that comes later. But yeah, chapter 402 has a great cover page. It's just Kazuya and Ruka walking together. I think this was I don't know if I'm like tripping or not, but I feel like we've had like a similar cover page, but with Chizuru, like of them walking in the snow. Maybe I'm just tripping, or I just feel like I've seen that before. Maybe I haven't. I'll try to see if I can find it. If I can't, it's okay. But it's a cool cover page nonetheless. The first time with my girlfriend, that is the chapter title. And yeah, they're just hanging out. Kazuya's lounging around, reading some manga or some comic or whatever. Kazuya's just kind of thinking to himself, oh, her skirt is just so short. Oh, that sound, dude. You know what I'm trying to say, right? Kazuya's a little pervert at heart, and he's always just thinking bad things. Well, not bad things, but with his mentality, it's bad things, bro. And yeah, Ruka's just being Ruka, kind of acting all lovey-dovey, super cute, flirting with him. And yeah, she's just commenting about how the place is so nice, how it's so spacious, and how the rent is so cheap. I mean, yeah, she's really trying to make some small talk. Nothing here seems too awkward. Like, their interactions seem pretty normal, because I guess they've been still talking to each other, communicating through text, and supposedly they still hang out, which is stuff that we don't see in the story at all, right? Because I guess the last time they saw each other was 5 days ago. They used to work at the same establishment, but they had the same part-time job, and that's where they used to have a lot of their interactions together, but now they don't. I don't remember what even happened about that, but supposedly they still see each other from time to time. So it's been 5 days since then. Honestly, I thought the interaction between the two was going to be a lot more just weird or awkward or just like hostile. And honestly, I think I would have preferred something like that, because if we could clearly see that okay, Ruka is kind of upset or frustrated with the situation she's in, I feel like we could get a better conclusion to her story, because from the looks of it, her story's probably gonna end very soon. And Mommy's, I don't know what's gonna happen with that. These two characters, like, they're main supporting cast, right? And they get shafted pretty early on, and then when they get brought back, it's just a whole like nothing burger of chapters. So I don't know, but yeah, moving forward past that, Kazuya is thinking to himself. I mean, most of this chapter is just him thinking to himself, right? And now he's just commenting on how Ruka seems like more like a real wife. Of course, Ruka is the best girl, and he's also saying how she's not acting as jealous as she was before. I guess that's a good thing. I don't really know. I just don't really like how Kazuya's just going about this whole situation, but it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. This is how the story's been set up. But yeah, Ruka goes and asks, oh, you haven't had any girls over here, have you? Almost kind of in like a joking way, but of course Kazuya has, because of the whole whatever she's rejection and then Yaemori coming over situation. But yeah, she doesn't, I don't even think Ruka knows about, I mean, I guess she would know about Yaemori, but yeah, he is hiding parts of the truth, to say the least, to keep Ruka happy in this moment, in these trying times. Maybe he feels like he's too committed to this bit where he has to continue to lie to her. But to me, I don't think that's the best way to go about things in this situation. Well, in most situations, to be honest with you. In almost every situation, to be honest with you. All the way through this chapter, Kazuya is just doing despicable things, bro. You'd think he's a minion. He's thinking things he shouldn't be thinking right now. Eventually, their conversation kind of dies out and pivots towards Ruka giving him the birthday present, right? And what is it? It is a like card case for like business cards. It's a pretty thoughtful gift, but Kazuya's like, oh, well, I don't know how much I'll actually be able to use this because a lot of work is online now. And I don't think he's trying to say it in like a condescending way, like, oh, I don't want this, but it's more of like he doesn't really have a use for this right now. Ruka does get a little sad because of this. She's like, oh man, I see, I messed up. And Kazuya still feels bad. See, and that's the thing I don't really understand about this. Like, why does Kazuya still feel bad about leading Ruka on if he's still like gunning for this other girl? I mean, I don't really get it. I guess technically that is his girlfriend, but they don't do any like real dating things from what we've seen in the series. Maybe it's completely different, like everything's just off screen every time they hang out or every time they go on dates or anything like that. Because the last chapter, what happened was Ruka asked, hey, can I come over? And then Kazuya was a little confused because he was thinking to himself, oh, well, she always likes to just go out to other places when we go out and do stuff. So I guess they do go on dates and they do still do boyfriend girlfriend kind of stuff, but we just don't really see it. That's a lot of what happens in Rag. It's a lot of off-screen kind of shenanigans that happen and then do get explained, but maybe not in the best way, or just like random stuff happens. I don't know how I really like it. Whatever, moving forward, Ruka gets a little sad because the gift that she gave Kazuya might not be as useful as she thought it would be. And Kazuya still tries to cheer her up because he sees that she put a lot of effort into it and it's really cute. So yeah, he just tries to cheer her up and this gets her happy again. He is a master manipulator. Well, I don't even think he's a manipulator, bro. It's just, I think Ruka is just so head over heels, and I wouldn't say she's delusional, but I would say she's really believing in Kazuya in this moment when Kazuya doesn't really believe in himself. But yeah, right after this, Kazuya gets a notification on his phone reminding him that he has like a test to take or like some assessment for his like potential jobs or like one of the jobs that he's applying for. And he realizes, oh shoot, I forgot to do this. It's gonna take an hour. Hey Ruka, I know we're hanging out right now, but can I still do this because it's really important to me? And he thinks, oh no, she's gonna get so angry at me for asking to do this. But surprisingly or not surprisingly, she doesn't, because she's madly in love with him and she wants to support him. And even though he is fumbling left and right and not being the best boyfriend he could be, she's still putting up with it. Yeah, he's just like, oh, she's fine with it, she's such an understanding girl. Bro, I just don't know, because it's like Kazuya's character isn't like inherently like a jerk or like dismissive towards girls or whatever, but I think he found himself in this situation that he probably shouldn't be in the first place, at least for this long, and he's now doing things behind her back they shouldn't be doing. So as Kazuya's like getting ready to take the test or logging in, just beginning the test kind of, Ruka starts up a conversation saying, oh, Kazuya, you've been pretty active lately. Has something changed? Like, you've been on your stuff, doing more. Like, what's changed, right? And of course, we as the readers know, oh, he's trying to lock in for Chizuru, right? But he's not gonna say this to Ruka, or he's gonna try not to say this to Ruka because he's trying to hide the truth, obviously. He's been doing that the entire series, hiding the truth. So instead, he goes with a little cop-out answer, saying that, oh, he's the 3rd year now, and he needs to start focusing on his future, which is true, but I don't know if that's the main driving factor in this predicament, because of course it's not, but it works for Ruka. So moving forward, he's beginning the test. It's complicated stuff that he doesn't really know anything about. To him, it's pretty hard. I don't really know what this is for or what type of jobs he's really even applying for, but if he doesn't really know the content on what this assessment is. He's stressing out because it's a time test. But yeah, what really gets to him is, or like the last thing that was kind of like put him over the edge a little bit, not in like a way where he's pissed off or anything, but it was just Ruka just sitting next to him and just wearing what she's wearing. I mean, it's not like anything crazy, but to Kazuya and his little nincompoop brain, it's a little too much in this stressful situation that he's in. And when this happens, he's like, oh, Ruka, could you step out for a little bit? You're being a little distracting. Like, he's not saying it in a very condescending way or anything. He's just like saying he needs to like lock in a little bit on this test. It was, it's only gonna take an hour, whatever. Ruka goes and fades into the background, just patiently waiting for Kazuya to finish his test. And what we get here is a little panel of Ruka with a determined face. I wonder what this determined face is for, right? I mean, if you read the last chapter, you would kind of understand what it is for, but yeah, I think Ruka's just mentally preparing for herself on what she's about to do. Kazuya goes and finishes the test. It took him exactly an hour. He's so pooped out, he's tired. He doesn't know how well he actually did, but he hopes things will turn out for the best. And yeah, he turns back, looks for Ruka. He doesn't see her, but he looks around the room and he sees, oh, well, the blinds are closed right now. Did she do that for me? Stop the sun from glaring in my eyes. In his head, he's like, oh yeah, sure, it's a date, but nothing too serious is gonna happen. Nothing's ever happened, and we're not doing anything flirty, so whatever. That's not even on his mind, right? And yeah, he's monologue sequence of Kazuya just thinking, oh, compared to before, she's super laid back, super cute girlfriend. Nothing's wrong with her. She's really great, right? But then the crazy thing is what he says right after is, but it's just that Mizuhara is too perfect. Even though everyone would want Ruka as a partner, to him, Mizuhara is just the baddest of them all. I think he's completely wrong about that, but Kazuya's gonna do what Kazuya wants to do. To me personally, that's not the case. But yeah, after he's done thinking like this, he goes and he calls for Ruka, right? And saying that, oh, he's all done and he's sorry for making her wait. And what happens next? Ruka I guess she's coming out of the bathroom or something, and she opens the door, and lo and behold, we get a little panel, and what we see is Kazuya with a very shocked expression on his face. What is this shocked expression for? Well, it's because of what she is wearing, or lack thereof, right? From the last chapter, Ruka said, oh, she wants to try having sex, right? And this is her attempt right now to make it big, or not make it. I didn't mean to say that. But yeah, what we see is a double spread of Ruka in some provocative looking loungewear, as some may say, and right next to that is Kazuya putting his hands in a place where he probably shouldn't be putting his hands right now. But yeah, I don't know. That's what it is, bro. Kazuya is super confused. He's like, what? Oh my god, what are you doing? And then he's getting all scared, crawling into the corner of the room, and Ruka's like, oh, I'm sorry. Maybe it was too embarrassing to show up wearing just my underwear. And then Kazuya asks, oh, why aren't you wearing clothes right now? And then Ruka says, even though it's not my birthday, it is kind of strange of me to ask something like this, but she really wants to do it anyway. So she asks Kazuya, hey, can you please have sex with me? They've been dating for a decent amount of time. I don't know the exact rag timeline. I'll try to go back and look exactly on how long it's been. Maybe I'll make a video on the whole rag series in its totality. But they've been dating for a decent amount of time. They've been going on dates. They've been texting each other back and forth. To Ruka, Kazuya is like, that's her boyfriend, right? Though Kazuya doesn't really feel the same way. So it's kind of like an unrequited love situation. but I think this has lasted a little too long, especially since Ruka has been shafted throughout the entire series. I feel it's just a little kind of messed up. But yeah, that is where the chapter ends. I'm just going to talk a little bit afterwards. But yeah, I just feel like all of this happening right now, to me at least, feels a little like, why? Other than, hey, the author's trying to wrap everything up right now. Because if you move this part, like if you move this whole like Ruka situation back like 50 or even 100 chapters ago, same thing. What would have changed? Literally nothing. You could have put this there. Like, the timeline does not matter in this situation. I think the author's just doing this all now because it's like, I'm trying to wrap up the series, because right before this, he basically did the same exact thing with Mommy, right? Mommy hasn't been in the series. I mean, she's been in a little bit, like pops up here and there with like a panel or two. And like, it's like the same exact situation. It's like a whole big, like, if you move that whole situation with him and Mommy, it could have been anywhere. I guess they're doing it all now because Kazuya is like trying to get himself together, try to improve on himself. Personally, I think Rag doesn't have that much longer left to go, especially since Chizuru in the previous few chapters, I didn't cover them. I covered, I think 392 was the last one I covered, so it's been 10 chapters since then. But in that span, Chizuru has kind of realized her feelings for Kazuya. Yaemori has kind of instilled that in her. Also, Yaemori's kind of a W wingman, some would say. But during that time, Chizuru has basically said, oh yeah, I'm gonna fall in love with Kazuya. Or it's basically like confirmed at this point in the series, because they also, right before this, Chizuru rejected Umi-kun, kind of out of the blue, it felt like to me. So we'll see how the rest of the series goes, but to be honest, it's just been back-to-back rejections, or not really rejections, but kind of just like, why is this here right now in the story? Like, we could have gone so many different ways, but decides to go like this. But I think this is probably one of the better ways to just wrap up the series quickly. Next chapter will be next week, Road 3. What do you guys think is gonna happen? I mean, to be honest with you, Kazuya's probably going to reject Ruka right here, and then she's probably gonna start crying or get pretty sad. Not really upset, I don't think, but she's gonna ask why can't we? We've been dating forever. And this is, I think, where Kazuya's gonna have to spill the beans on what's been going on this entire time. And I think that's going to conclude kind of Ruka's whole story arc. I hope that's not the case, but I think it is going to be. I just wish that Ruka had more of an impact in the story, mid-story, late story. I feel like she has such a good character design and is in a really good position to just facilitate the story writing more, rather than just have her be at the beginning of the story for Kazuya to, like, I don't know, just like some drama at the beginning of the story, and then to bring her back, but like keep her a little relevant in the story, because I don't know, I think her character could have been so much better. Same thing with Mommy. It's like, I feel like if they weren't in the story at all, if their characters were just removed from the story, what would change? Nothing, I don't think. The story would be exactly the same, maybe a little less boring, because they kind of get used to fill dead space like in between arcs a little bit. But I don't know, in all of Kazuya's friends, like, he doesn't hang out with them, or at least as we see in the story. It's just a lot of like, there's a lot of missing pieces to this puzzle that have not been fulfilled, and I don't think they're ever going to. It is supposed to be a rom-com kind of train wrecky series, but it could have gone a lot better, a lot smoother, as we could see from the author's other work, the Shiunji family, which I do need to cover as well because a new chapter just dropped. But yeah, I mean, that's train wrecky in another way. This is just like, I don't know, narratively, some things just don't really make sense. But yeah, I don't really know what else to think about Rag right now. Rent-a-Girlfriend. It's gonna end soon. I'm sad, bro. Ruka's not winning. Best Girl's not even in the running anymore. Well, we'll see after next chapter. Hopefully something crazy happens. But yeah, if you guys have any thoughts or intellect that you would like to tell me, please let me know in the comments. And yeah, that's really about it. So I'll see you.